Hey guys, today we are going to be analyzing the final episode of season 4, Strike Back, which feels so crazy to say, and I'll be discussing all of my thoughts and theories that I took away from this episode, as well as diving deeper into a lot of these theories and topics in future videos. So as always, before we get into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. Now, let's get into it. So right off the bat, the episode is picking up from where we left off on in Risk, where we see both Adrian discovering the eyepiece Felix was formerly using, and Ladybug having to make her decision as to whether she should go back for Adrian. Now, to my surprise, we actually never once see Adrian bring up the eyepiece in this episode. However, this only leads me to believe it'll be something we see appear next season and can even possibly play a vital role in terms of discovering new things and getting closer to finding out the identity behind who Hawkmoth is for Ladybug and Cat Noir. We then get a look at Felix, Lila, and Natalie all on the train, and soon enough, after Felix attempts to call out for Dusu and transform, he's hit with the realization that this was a fake. Also, if things really did go as planned and Felix went off with Lila and Natalie, I couldn't see Lila not catching on to the fact that Adrian was behaving unlike himself, but then again, it's Lila, I'm sure she would have assumed he finally fell for her or something. Now, as Ladybug and Cat Noir meet up and try to get the situation under control with Strike Back, Risk on the other hand continues to be on the loose, and we're seeing time and time again just how powerful Risk's powers are when Cat Noir impulsively goes to call out for his cataclysm until Ladybug stops him. We then hear Cat Noir go to say a very bold line, and that being that he'll never get akumatized. When we then see Ladybug have a flashback of the situation with Cat Blanc. It hurts me every time to see just how much this continues to affect Ladybug, but even more when it comes to her having to make the decision as to whether or not she reveals the truth to him. This very obviously is something that continues to haunt her, as even seen midway through this season in Senti Bubbler, and I have a feeling she will one day have to explain to him what went down. It's just that right now isn't the right time. And while Ladybug goes to call up on for reinforcement, she once again stumbles upon Risk, fully unaware of the fact that he's been akumatized, and as I'd previously theorized, Strike Back is granted the power to mimic others, so one by one, it's obtaining more strength. Now, this part in the episode is a huge moment in which we're reminded of the consequences of secrets and identities being revealed. A major theme throughout this season have been identity reveals, with our very first one happening in Gang of Secrets between Marinette and Alia, Felix discovering Gabriel's in Gabriel Agrest, Nino discovering Alia's secret in Senti Bubbler, Adrian discovering both Alia and Nino's identities in Rocketeer, and Luca knowing Ladybug and Cat Noir's. There's always a consequence to these things happening at the wrong time, and this makes me even more concerned for Luca about what's yet to come. Nonetheless though, Ladybug is understanding towards Alia, and later on, while we see Alia feel the need to return her Miraculous, this would end up being an even bigger mistake, as it could have been one less Miraculous Gabriel had gotten his hands on. Soon enough though, Rena does catch on to the fact that everyone has marks on their neck, and this one scene in particular was hilarious, where as Cat Noir goes to say he's good with kids, which we know he is, seconds later he's chucked into the wall by Risk, and from that point on, everyone is now not only after Risk, but as well as Strike Back. Ladybug soon after summons up her lucky charm, which happens to be a ticket from the previous day for the exact location in which Froggy was akumatized, and after unifying herself with Kelky and Fluff, making her to become Pennybug, she immediately heads into the train to look for Adrian, when both her and Felix startle one another, and we even see Felix quickly chuck his bag back into the washroom and close the door. Now, Now, of course, Felix doesn't have a mark from Risk as he wasn't in Paris at the time when everyone was receiving one, making him to be the real Adrian even more convincing for Ladybug, and also explains why Sabrina wasn't Barb's holder in this case, as Ladybug specifies earlier that she'd need someone who hadn't been affected yet. However, because she believed this to be the real Adrian, this would certainly become one of her biggest weaknesses in this case, seeing just how comfortable she becomes with being open to him and explaining things such as the very way she gets the miraculous from her yo-yo and so on. And you guys, as soon as Felix became Flaremitable and did this, oh, he is so sneaky. And from that point onwards, his motive became very obvious for what he wanted to accomplish while using the miraculous. So as the two head back in time and Felix fetches the plushie, to their surprise, they return back to complete chaos. But fortunately, now they have one less thing to worry about and can focus all of their attention onto defeating Strike Back. And just before the rest of the team meets up, we can see Cat Noir eavesdropping on Ladybug and Flaremitable, and I mean, just look at his face. Not only did this scene hurt, but this one was so hard for me to sit still and watch, because here we have Marinette genuinely happy and thinking she's talking to the boy she loves, when really, Felix is just playing along. Now, after both Cat Noir and Flaremitable get to meet, and Ladybug summons up her lucky charm, this time being a pair of sunglasses, we see Rooster Bolt duplicating them, and as he's doing so, Flaremitable touches her yo-yo. Now, of course we can all admit that what Felix would later do this finale was unacceptable. However, I couldn't help but feel bad for him seeing his reaction to how the Senti monsters were being discarded. He even goes to say, "I'm sorry," which while many, including myself, would have assumed that was towards Ladybug and for what he was about to do, Winnie actually went to say on Twitter that he felt he was saying so to Strike Back, which would make a lot of sense. And so within these final minutes of the finale, so much went down, and besides the part in which we've already discussed, with Alia handing over her miraculous, the first major thing is the interaction between Felix and Gabriel. As Felix quoted from the very beginning of this episode, "You have to seize the opportunity when it presents itself to you," and that's exactly what he did. To get what he wanted, not only did he threaten Gabriel that he'd reveal the secret of the painting to Adrian, but he as well offered Gabriel all the miraculouses except Ladybug and Cat Noir's in return for the Peacock Miraculous. Oh, and let's not forget another huge thing, and that being that he'd no longer need the ring. Now, I plan to discuss more about Felix in an upcoming theory video, but as of right now, what I can assume and theorize is that this ring is not the object in which holds his amok. Another extremely important thing to note is Lila. While she may have not played a huge role in this season and finale, I can only see her doing so next season. We see she's smirking and satisfied seeing the condition in which Natalie's in, and I believe this could be because of the fact she knows that besides Natalie, she is one of Gabriel's closest allies. Not only that, but now with him having possession of the miraculouses, and specifically the Fox Miraculous, I think it's time Volpina really comes to life and this time has the real miraculous. Plus, with people such as her having the real miraculouses, this will make all the future battles and face-offs all the more exciting, and as Cat Noir later on quotes, him and Ladybug will retrieve the miraculous one by one. And if these kind of situations happen where in battles we do have new holders, this will make that goal even more achievable for Ladybug and Cat Noir. As right now, with Gabriel hogging them all in his house, it'd be pretty hard to get to them. And speaking about having all the miraculous in Gabriel's house, can we talk about how sad this is for the Kwamis? Finally this season, we see Nuru and Dusu unite, and yet in just one season, that's taken away from the two of them. Dusu now is left to be alone with Felix. His miraculous looks so cool in camouflage mode, while we have Nuru who can finally be with the rest of the Kwamis, only it's in the worst way possible. Not to mention, this is all happening under the same roof Plag is in. But carrying on, I'm even more curious as to whether we will have new unifications to expect in the following season from both Hawkmoth and other users to come, especially with Gabriel now having the Rabbit Miraculous and being capable of traveling through time. With new unifications will also bring new names, and I'm just wondering how comfortable Gabriel would be unifying himself with the amount he has. Hence why I believe we can expect more than just him to be using the Miraculous next season, knowing as it's dangerous to unify yourself with them all. One last thing I want to note for Lila as well is the fact that both her and Gabriel made a deal in the past, which we've yet to still learn what it'd be in return that she would receive. Would it be having a Miraculous full-time, Adrian, or perhaps, even worse, having possession to one of the rings? Now, throughout all of what just happened, at the same time, Ladybug is panicking. I almost started crying during this scene for her, but yet Adrian is there to support her. Even after clearly being hurt during the battle, he'll always be there, and the same thing applying to the end scene of this finale, where we see Ladybug extremely hurt and even on the verge of giving up, yet she's reminded by her loyal partner that no matter what it is they have to face, he will never leave her side. This finale and whole season in general has been building up to this very moment, where Ladybug does acknowledge what it is she was doing this season, wrong or right, and that no matter how many heroes there are, Cat Noir is irreplaceable. Going into season 5, we have our duo and our duo only, and it's going to be up to them to make things right. Plus, I'd like to say we could assume they'll have some help along the way. Now, something I found interesting within this last minute as well was the preview of people we'd gotten. We see Luca, who knows the secret identities of Ladybug and Cat Noir, and Kagami, who's continued to grow throughout this season, and early on acknowledge Marinette and Adrian's relationship with one another. We get to see Suhan's reaction, and while he warned Marinette earlier on about her role as the Guardian, whether he wanted to force her to give her position up or not, he can't make that decision for her. But also, what Miraculous would she have to return right now? I really do hope that Suhan does help Ladybug and encourage her next season, but only time will tell. And lastly, something even more interesting was seeing the concerned look on Chloe's face. Immediately, this would have given many hope that we could see Chloe change. However, I'd have to disagree. It certainly would be startling for anyone to see Hawkmoth, or whatever his new name might be, if it is that he changes it, to now have possession of all the Miraculous. But when it comes down to it, Chloe wants what she wants. With the possible return of Alpina, my same assumption goes for Chloe, and that be to see her becoming Queen Bee again. Not only that, but on Twitter, after a fan went to mention to Thomas about how they'd plan to get a tattoo for her, Thomas went to say, "I'd friendly suggest to wait for the end of the show before taking any decision." And to me, that only sounds like things are going to get worse for Chloe. But as always, what do you guys think? I've watched this finale over 10 times now, and it still feels so unreal to me, but what's even more unreal is the excitement I have for next season. There are still so many things we need to discuss from this season, what we can expect going into season 5, and theories I have to share with you. So while we wait for all the new Miraculous content to come this year, I am not going anywhere and will continue to be sharing new videos and theories every week with you guys. And so as always, be sure to let me know your thoughts and theories down below, and subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love, and I'll see you guys in the next one.